Okay, so in the Torah we have 669 parshas, 290 parshas psuchos, 379 parshas tumos. I mean, every parsha has to have nine, a space of nine letters before it begins. The difference between a parsha psucha and a parsha stuma is that a parsha psucha, even if there are nine oisius of space, needs to begin on a new line, whereas the parsha stuma begins on the same line as the previous parsha ended, but it also needs the space of tisha oisios. But obviously, if there are 669 parshas in the Torah, there are quite a few parshas in every one of the 53 sedras that we lane on the during the Shabbosos of the year. Whereas there's one exception to this rule, and that's Parshas Vayeitzei, that has Bechlal no break. There's no break in the entire Parshas Vayeitzei. There's no beginning of a new Parsha in the entire Sedra of Vayeitzei. It begins as a Parsha Stuma, and after the entire Vayeitzei comes Vayishlach that begins as a Parsha Psucha. So probably there's meaning to this. Why this Sedra has no parshas? You know, maybe we can say that Vayeitzei is the first parsha of Golus. Yaakov Avinu leaves Eretz Yisrael and goes to Chutz La'aretz. He doesn't just leave; he escapes Eretz Yisrael. He leaves his parents' home and he goes to Chutz La'aretz, to the house of Lavan that was Bikesh Lakar Es Hakoil, even worse than Paroi. It's amazing that even before there was the Hakoil, he was already Bikesh Lakar Es Hakoil. But the thing is that the Malachim of Eretz Yisrael leave him until in the end of the parsha, the Malachim of Eretz Yisrael receive him as he comes back to Eretz Yisrael. So during this entire Vayeitzei, Yaakov Avinu experiences all kind of difficulties and challenges, and typically in a situation like that, a person feels that it's all over. He reached the end, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises him in the beginning of this journey, "V'hinei anoichi imach u'shmarticha b'chol asher teilech v'hashivoisicha elo ha'adama azois ki lo ye'ezovcha ad asher imasisi es asher dibarti loch." And Memela, it all becomes really one parsha. In other words, there are no breaks in this parsha. There are no endings and beginnings. It begins as a parsha stuma, but when it comes a full circle, everything opens up, and we find out that it was that during this time he was maimed the Yud Beis Shiftei Ka Edus LiYisrael. You know, in the Midrash Tanchuma Parshas Lech Lecha, it says that Simen Nosan LeHaKadosh Baruch Hu LaAvraham Shekol Ma She'ira Loi Yera Lebonov, that whatever happened to Avraham Avinu will happen to his children. The Ramban applies this to all the Ovis, and like the Lashon Ramban, Bekamo Mekoimois Maasei Ovoi Simen Lebonim in the beginning of Parshas Lech Lecha, and also in our Parsha about the Be'erois. So this is really a message for all generations, for the Yemei HaGolus, that we should believe, and we should know that even when things look like they're coming to an end, even when we seem to be experiencing regression, we should know that it's just another step in the long journey until we will reach the Vahashivoi Sicha Elo Adama Azois, and so we could experience it as one parsha, all the twists and the turns. The Rambam in Hilchis Arochin, Perik Vov, towards the end of Perik Vov, says, Yeroeli. This is the Rambam uses this kind of language when it's something that's not mafurish in Chazal and it's his own halacha. He says, Yeroeli. It would seem to me, she'afal pi she'ein adam makdish davar sheloi bala oilam. A person can't be makdish davar sheloi bala oilam. But im Omar Harei Olai Lahagdishoy, if he says that he takes upon himself to be makdish something that hasn't yet come into this world, Harei Zechayev Lahagdishoy Kishayovoy La'olam Mishum Neder. The neder is chal. V'im lo hikdish, oiver mishum lo yisa'acher, v'lo yachel, u'mishum kechol hayoytze mipiv yase, keshar hanedorim. It's a neder like every other neder. And then the Rambam says, Raya ledover, masha omar Yaakov Avinu. In this week's parasha, Yaakov Avinu says, V'chol asher titein li, aser asrenu loch, no titein li. He doesn't yet have it. V'nemar asher nodarto li shom neder. The Rebbeinu Shalom refers to this as a neder. So you see that a neder is chal in harei olai lahakdishoy. The Rambam brings another raya about the Ravid disagrees with, but about this raya, the Ravid uncharacteristically says haraya miyakov hi raya. That he fully agrees with this raya. You know, it's rare that we should learn a halacha from the Maisa Ha'avis. I mean, as far as I know, this might be the only place. So probably there's a meaning to the fact that this halacha in particular is learned from Yaakov Avinu. Really, we can ask, why did Yaakov Avinu need to make a neder, dafke? That should be chal with all the halachas of nedorim, and somehow circumventing the klal of davar sheloi bo la'olam. Eino da magdish davar sheloi bo la'olam. He could have just had in mind that when I'll have it, he will be aser asrenu. He could have made a promise without hilchis nedorim. Would that not be enough? So it would seem that when the oilam as is frightening, when the bola oilam is threatening, a person needs to connect with the loy bola oilam. He needs to find a way to make present in his world the loy bola oilam. He needs to make sure that the v'chol asher titein li in the future is not just a distant hope, but a tangible reality in the here and now. In order to survive and thrive in Golus, we need to rise above what's already bo la'olam. You know, in Sefer Yetzirah, it says that everything belongs to three categories. Olam, Shana, Nefesh. Olam meaning space, Shana meaning time, and Nefesh is the who that is in the Olam and the Shana. B'derech klal, in general, these categories are inflexible. But you know, Yaakov Avinu really reinvented himself. He was born as a second, and through his efforts, he became the Bechor. So he was no longer the who that he was born as. In our parsha, as Rashi says on the pasuk, Ein zeh ki im beis Elokim, Ein zeh ki im beis Elokim, Zokt Rashi, ki mota lechoron, Omar. Yeah, Rashi makes a whole cheshbon about where he was, and there's steers in the psukim, and Rashi is machriya ki mota lechoron, when he already arrived to Choron. Omar, he said, Efsher she'avarti al mokom she'espalalu avoisai, v'lo yispalalti boy. Can it be that I passed through the place where my forefathers davened and I didn't daven there? Yohav daite lemeheder. So he made up his mind that he's going to go back. V'chazar ad beis kel, v'kofza loyoretz. So when there's a Yohav daite, when one puts his mind to something in the measure that Yaakov Avinu put his mind to it, so you can move mountains. Netak har hamoirio bolikan, kofza loyoretz. The makoim, the oilam, doesn't determine the where I am. He broke the barrier of space. Already before that it says, Vayivga b'mokoim, vayolen shom vayivga. Zokt Rashi, lelamdecho shekofza loyoretz. In other words, he stumbled upon the place because it wasn't really the place. And it also says afterwards, "Ha'oretz ashata shoichei voleho lecho etnena ulizaracha." The oretz ashu shoichei voleho is a tiny little piece of oretz. Yes, so Rashi says, "Kipel Hakadosh Baruch Hu kol Eretz Yisrael tachtav." Hakadosh Baruch Hu folded the entire Eretz Yisrael beneath him. So the space was condensed. Ramazloi shetehei noicha likavesh levanov kedalid amis shezem mekoymei shalodom. And so also as far as the barrier of time. On the pasuk Kibo Hashemesh, Rashi says, Hoyoloi lichtoi vayovoy Hashemesh vayolen shom. Why does it say vayolen shom Kivo Hashemesh? Zok Rashi Kivo Hashemesh mashma sheshoko loichama pisoin sheloi boinasa. It wasn't time yet for it to become night, but it was shoko loichama pisoin sheloi boinasa kadesha yolen shom. So the future became the present. Yaakov Avinu could bring la'olam what's not yet bala olam. The loy bala olam becomes a bala olam. Kol asher li in the future is as if it's here already now. So Yaakov Avinu managed to transcend the who. He became a bechor, and the when, and the where. He experienced the loy bala olam in this olam. And so he was able to pass through the Golus as a one parsha. And he is the one that's Mesakein, Tfilas, Arvis. You know, the Gemara says, Kol Shaloi Omar Emes V'Yatziv Shachris. The Emes V'Emuna Arvis Lo Yotzo Yedei Choyvasa. So Shachris is a time of light. Everything is visible. So that the Dover Hazeh is emes v'yatziv. Yatziv in this, it means firm. Things are clear, but in the time of Arvis, it's dark. So the emes is not seen. But nevertheless, ve'emuno kol zois v'kayam oleinu ki hu Hashem Elokeinu ve'en zulasei. And it's a twofold emuna. Ve'emuno kol zois v'kayam oleinu ki hu Hashem Elokeinu ve'en zulasei. We believe in Him. V'anachnu Yisrael Amoy. We believe in ourselves, that we are the Amma Nivchor. We believe in our relationship with Hashem Elokeinu ve'en zulasei. And therefore, we know that He's always the Peideinu Miyad Melochim Malkeinu Agoy Aleinu Mikav Kol Ha'aritzim, etc. And so we will bring La'olam, the Loiba La'olam, Umola Haaretz Deos Hashem. Okay, Rabbi Say, I wish you all a good Shabbos.